Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Atlanta. Good morning, East Coast. Good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. My name is Giovanni Gonzalez, and I'm always honored to start us every week with a powerful conversation every morning. We say over here that the way you start each day gives you the rest of your day, and the way you live each day gives you the rest of your life. So there's something to say about how intentional are you in the way you start your day. Critical hours. Saurel, what day is today?
Today is today.
Yeah, and what time is it?
Monday.
No, it's just today. And what time is it?
It's now.
The only thing that matters, Saurel, today and right now. That's it. Everything else is just not true.
A figment of our imagination. That's all it is.
Today, we're going to have a great conversation with Ethan King. I'm so excited about having Ethan today. Saurel, I always have the pleasure to introduce you as someone who has made a big difference in my life. And it's no surprise that you're America's executive coach. Good morning, Saurel.
Good morning, Giovanni. I always am bigger in your space. You are the #1 transformational leadership coach, my friend, my business partner, and it's my honor to be co-hosting today with you, and also my double, triple, quadruple honor to introduce a new friend to the Daily Huddle, Mr. Ethan King. Ethan, hey. Welcome. Good morning. And let me tell you a little bit about Ethan. Ethan went from starving artist to owning multiple million-dollar brands. Ethan King adds a new dimension of cool to entrepreneurship. And by looking at him, you can tell. And he is the co-founder and CEO of Zeus Closet, Stuff for Greeks, and FratBrat. And he also serves as the former Atlanta chapter president and global member leader in the nonprofit entrepreneurs organization known as EO, helping over 14,000 business owners in 62 countries grow both personally and professionally. And today, Ethan poses this question: can you, and he means you, can you become the best possible version of yourself? Ethan, I cannot wait to hear you speak to us for over, you've got the next 12 minutes. You may ask us to interrupt you by prompting us, or you may speak for the entire 12 to 15 minutes, and somewhere around 9:20, we'll break and we'll give the audience a piece of you through their questions. How about that?
All right. I love it. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Hey, thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for having me here. And thanks for doing this show. This is really important to entrepreneurs, business leaders, everybody who wants to strive to become the best version of themselves. And wow, you've given me 12 minutes to address a big question, right? Because
I know
it's one of those things. It is elusive, right? You hear it all the time. In America, we have this notion of be the best version of yourself, be all that you can be. You hear it from motivational speakers left and right. But is it really possible? And if so, how? So let's unpack that. But before I answer that, let me set the stage, if I may, Saurel, and tell you a little bit about my backstory, my origin story. So I didn't come from any type of business background. No MBA, no entrepreneurs in my family or anything like that. Growing up, I wanted to be an artist. I was really into drawing and painting. So in college, I majored in art. Well, my parents told me that artists don't make any real money until after they're dead. But I didn't listen, and I set out to prove them wrong. Now, the problem is I initially went about this the wrong way. And to be frank, I hustled to make money. So I ended up in a jail cell twice by the age of 19. And I've been in the back of a police car many more times than that. I even got suspended from college for a semester for lying to administrators. And the president of the college himself, Michael F. Adams, he called me to his office and he's kicked me out himself. And I'm thankful that he only suspended me and didn't expel me from school because I was able to come back and graduate. So I graduated, but with an art degree and a criminal background, you can imagine that it was very tough for me to find a good job. In other words, I was dead broke. So I worked odd jobs at night to make ends meet while I learned graphic design in the daytime. Now, my most humiliating job was taking out the trash at this grimy strip club on the south side of Atlanta. The DJs at the club caught on to my artistic talent, and I eventually started designing flyers for the club. But I kind of had this guilty feeling in the back of my mind, and I felt that God had better plans for me. Then there was one night that changed my life forever. While I was driving on my way to the club, I stopped at a traffic light and I was carjacked at gunpoint. The robber took off with my car, all my equipment, all my belongings in the car, and I literally thought he was going to kill me. And I took that as a sign from God, from the universe, from the divine force, whatever you call God. I took that as a sign that I was on the wrong path. And that night, I will never forget it, I vowed to turn my life around and use my talents for a different purpose. Now, I think it was no coincidence that shortly after that incident, my life really started to change for the better. I landed a real job as the lead graphic designer at a newspaper. I also picked up some big name freelance clients like Tyler Perry and McDonald's, which led to my work being featured on shows like 60 Minutes and actually Oprah Winfrey Show. Around that same time, a website that I had initially built as a school project, it started to get real orders, like from real people on the other side of the country. And that website is stuffforgreeks.com. We make custom merchandise for fraternities and sororities. And my girlfriend and I started that site. We scraped together $700 to start that business. And now, to this day, Stuff for Greeks is one of the top Greek paraphernalia companies in the world. So I get to be an artist, not on the traditional paint on canvas, but on the backs of people's jackets. And I've trained dozens of other artists under me to do the same. So we went from working out of our basement in our house to buying an office building in West Midtown Atlanta. Now, who would have thought that I would own a building in Atlanta? And we bought it right in the middle of the Great Recession. So we took part of that building and we opened our first retail store, Zeus Closet, in 2009. Now at Zeus Closet, we sell clothing that we custom embroider for businesses, movies and TV shows, clothing lines, and of course, fraternities and sororities. We still do some of that, but we're like a tattoo shop for your clothes. And now we have 2 store locations and we're offering franchises. So over the years, our business grew really fast and we've been featured in all kinds of newspaper articles and business journals, and we've won awards. But I'd say that the most meaningful award for me was actually, it's called the Bulldog 100. And that's where the fastest growing businesses owned by UGA alumni are recognized. So we've been on this list about 4 times now, but I'll never forget the first time we made that list. When I went on stage to accept the award, guess who presented me with the award? The same president, Michael F. Adams, the same president who had kicked me out of school 10 years earlier, was now on stage presenting me with an award. And that moment confirmed for me that I was now in alignment with my purpose. And I don't tell you guys all this stuff to brag, but rather to illustrate a point. When you're in alignment with God's plan, the universe conspires to help you win. So I believe that there are multiple dimensions that exist all at the same time, and that past, present, and future all exist at the same time as well. Now, I don't want to get weird and spacey on you here. If you think that sounds strange, you can research it. Albert Einstein actually talked about this. He posed theories on this. So you can look up like quantum physics or multidimensionality. if your audience wants to learn more. But I believe that a different version of you exists in all of these infinite universe, and a different version of me as well. And those versions are created based on every single decision that we make. And that's every decision, whether it be small or large. When you go out of the door, do you go right? Do you go left? Even if it may seem insignificant, it has a major impact on where you end up in life 20 years down the road. In fact, Eleanor Roosevelt said, "We are the sum total of the choices we have made." So I constantly imagine, well, what if another version of me walked through this door right now? Like the same age, born with the same DNA. But what if he was like way richer than me, or in much better shape, or more polished, smarter, way more successful? All because that version of me made different choices in life. How would that make me feel? And that's the thought that actually keeps me up at night sometimes. It's what motivates me to do what I do, because I want to be the best possible version of myself. They say that the definition of hell on earth is for, on your dying day, to meet the person that you could have become. So yes, I believe that we should all strive to be the best version of ourselves. It is an elusive goal that we can never fully achieve, maybe, well, of course, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try. So I'm not just going to tell you that story and leave it here. I'd like to quickly go through and share with you some of my methodology for becoming your best self. And then I'll take questions after that. So first, I believe that you have to define your ideal self according to certain parameters. And I came up with this concept that I call SIMPLE. It's a framework. It's an acronym, SIMPLE. The S is for spirituality. The I is for intellect. The M is for money. The P is for physicality. The L is for your love and relationships. And E is for entertainment. Now, I believe that everything in life falls into one of these 6 categories, or 6 containers, if you will. And it is your duty to constantly keep them calibrated. Because if you stay too high or too low in one of those areas for too long, it can lead to depression or narcissism or other types of mental imbalances. So again, those 6 categories are spirituality, and that you can look at that as mindfulness or religion. It's going to mean different things to different people, but something outside of yourself is how I define spirituality. Intellect, that's reading, nurturing your brain, always be learning. You know, education does not stop with school. Money, that's your career-oriented stuff, your business, your finances. Your physicality, that's your exercise routine, your physical appearance, working out, so forth. Love in relationships, you know, that's whether it be romantic love or family love. There are actually 8 different types of love, according to Greek research. And then entertainment, because, you know, you don't just want to be bored in life. Sometimes you just have to do entertaining things just for the sake of entertainment. Now that is the framework. And again, it's in a constant state of flux. I don't believe that there's any such thing as life balance. It's always moving, and you just need to adjust accordingly. So the next thing, and the last thing I'm gonna leave you with, is actions that you actually want to take. And it starts with a morning routine. You guys were just talking about the first thing you do in the morning. And here we are on a Monday morning, and I've already gone through my morning routine, which I call GAMERS. It's another acronym. I love acronyms because it makes things easy to remember. But GAMERS, GAMERS. G is for gratitude. So first thing every day, write down 3 things that you're thankful for in your life. This will invite more gratefulness into your life. You can do this with, it's a gratitude journal. You can buy one on Amazon, or you can just open any type of notebook. But start with gratitude. First thing you do. After that, the A is for your affirmations and visualizations. There are different things you can do. Watch a mind movie, look at your vision board. You can actually write down affirmations. There's a famous cartoonist that created the cartoon Dilbert that most people have heard of. Well, way before he was a famous cartoonist, legend has it that he actually wrote down 15 times a day, I am a famous cartoonist. I am a famous cartoonist. I am a famous cartoonist. And he eventually became that because he programmed it into his subconscious. The M is for mindfulness. This can be like 20 minutes of meditation or prayer. I personally do transcendental meditation, which you can learn more about at tm.org. But it's 20 minutes of just being still and quiet and decluttering your mind. The E is for exercise. I recommend that everyone train for 35 to 60 minutes a day, a mixture of strength training and cardio. Get your heart rate up. It needs to be high intensity. You need to break a sweat. The R is for reading, and that boosts your intellect, which I talked about in the framework. But I do this through audiobooks because you can combine that with while you're working out and exercising, or actually sit down and read some pages of a business book. Now, it's hard for me to sit down and read sometimes because I fall asleep if I do it at night. But if you do it in the morning and you just say, okay, I'm going to read 5 pages of this book, you'll accomplish a lot. And the last, the S is for sharing. Share your knowledge, share your gifts with others. It's what we're doing right now. We're sharing information and knowledge with the world. It wasn't meant to be kept inside. It was meant to be taught to help other people. So again, I'm just scratching the surface here. I don't really have time to dig deep into these things that I've explained, but there are multiple ways. If you want to connect with me, just go to ethanking.com and we can talk more about that later. So to answer your question, the original question, I do believe, yes, you should strive to become the best version of you, but practice the things I shared with you, and you'll see that you can actually become an entirely different person. It's someone you can't even conceive right now, but it is still you, just a different version of you. So just want to start off with that, and then I'll open it up to questions from the audience.
Ethan, that is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing yourself and sharing your gift and your knowledge with us. It's a real blessing this morning. Now, we want to go to the audience for questions, and I'm curious about this. If I were, you created the model, simple. It's got 6 areas. So I'm going to pose 6 questions really quickly so people can get a sense of what your day looks like, right? So you wake up, S, what does that look like?
So S, the simple is a framework. The simple is not actions.
Oh,
actions constantly throughout your day, and you're aware of the different levels where you are. So S, spirituality, it's a framework. You need to be constantly aware throughout the day of your spiritual practices. Now, the action that you take to fill that spiritual bucket, if you will, for me, that's meditation and prayer.
And what's the action you take to fill the intellectual bucket on a daily basis?
So I am a learning junkie. My Audible account is always overflowing. I'm always going over the limit. I'm at the maximum plan. So I love audiobooks. I love podcasts. I used to love going to live in-person events before coronavirus. I can't wait to get back to that and stuff like this, like we're doing on this call.
Awesome. And what about money? What's your practice there?
So money, okay, so I'm a business owner. I run multiple businesses. You always have to be watching the dollars, making sure that you are profitable at all times. It's easy to get duped if you're not watching the money, monitor your expenses. Again, this is an ongoing thing. There's no one thing that you do to protect your money, to grow your money, but it's an ongoing part of life.
What's your favorite movement when you're working out? Squats, bench presses, pull-ups, what is it?
Okay, for strength training, if I had to take one exercise with me, it would be pull-ups. I feel like that it gives you the most results for your effort when you're working out. I have a pull-up bar. You can buy a pull-up bar on Amazon that you hang up in your door at home. But I also love, when it comes to cardio, high intensity interval training gives you the most results for the least amount of time.
What do you love the most, and who's the love of your life?
The love of my life. Oh, great. She's actually on this call. Her name is Monica, and she is the girlfriend that I started that company with, is actually still 17 years later, my wife, my business partner, the mother of my 2 children.
That's awesome. And in this environment of the pandemic, how do you stay entertained?
We've actually been blessed to be extremely busy during the pandemic. And now at first, like back in March, it was very scary. It was very slow, but things turned around. We pivoted quickly and converted to online sales. We've been a lot busier than we usually are this time of year, which is strange, but I'm thankful for the blessing. So I haven't had as much time to Netflix and chill as I wanted to. But we do try to squeeze in there some good movie nights, either with us or with the kids, go out to the pool and toss them around a little bit. Just lots of at-home family entertainment.
That's awesome. Thank you for creating yourself as a whole human being. And I love the human you are being. And Sheila has a question for you. Sheila, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, I actually have a comment. Ethan, thank you so much. The thing that you've contributed to me in this conversation, in your spirituality and gamers, is the amount of discipline you have and that you are. So I really want to thank you because you really contributed that to me this morning.
Wow.
And I will be reaching out to you.
Oh, great. I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you for that feedback.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Awesome. Who else has a question? Giovanni, go ahead.
Ethan, good morning, man. I was just really inspired by your life story, right? In some way the artist who has a journey, right? And then end up at the back of the police officer car, right? And then somehow finding a light in the middle of that world, right? And I know from a similar experience for myself, I know that you are connected to a lot of love for people and a lot of love for what's possible. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. And I just really admire your success and the journey to be where you're at now. I was kind of left with a real world of curiosity. And I really liked it when you started speaking of the opportunity of seeing myself in different ways, or like you were pointing to like different paradigms, seeing myself like, well, if I was showing up in this room right now and I would take different choices, what would those choices be? Clearly it would be a whole different life, right? So I like what you presented. And I was started to look at, well, no wonder how Ethan was able to truly transform his results by looking at, well, what would the choice of somebody else will do right now? I was just kind of like disassociate me from my paradigms, from what I usually do. So I was just kind of getting all of that. And maybe as a question that I have, and then you don't have to take that long so other people can ask you questions. And the question I have is, when you're having difficult times in personally, right? Where do you go to align yourself back to being the performer that you are now?
So that is a wonderful question. And that is why gratitude is so vital, so important. And to answer your question and to kind of go back to Sheila's comment about me being disciplined, I'm not going to sit here and front like I'm super disciplined. I don't do that every single morning. I'm not a robot. I'm not like some guys I know, like get up at 5 a.m. every single day like clockwork. That is not me. But I do make a valiant effort to do it. And look, if I miss it in the morning, then sometimes I'll just pause in the middle of my day and go through that routine. And some days I miss it altogether. But especially during times when I feel really down, really stressed out, or I feel like the world is against me, that's when I make the extra effort to sit down and be thankful for the things I have, because it just changes your entire mindset. It changes your chemistry, like all of that whole game routine. It changes your chemistry. The gratitude, being thankful for what you have, the affirmations, like looking at the future and being thankful for the future that's coming to you. And then the meditation, which literally declutters your mind and taps you into a different set of brain waves. And then the exercise gets out there and gets your heart pumping, which releases endorphins, the pleasure chemicals. By the time you get through that, you can't help but feel great. So that's how I get through the tough times. And I appreciate your question, Giovanni. And you know, when it comes to the multidimensionality, like, so I'm always thinking to myself, there's a version of me out there somewhere that is homeless and sleeping under I-20, under a bridge. There's another version of me out there that's a billionaire, right? So every time I encounter a decision, I think, okay, well, which version is that going to lead to? And that's just one example. That's like the money example. But you think about that with everything in life. It's kind of chilling to think about, but it does frame your decision making.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ethan. Andrea, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Ethan. Thank you so much for sharing everything today. And in your framework, you have the platform of relationships. And one of the things as a small business owner that I am, relationships also are the feelings you have towards somebody, and that somebody may not know you exist, meaning mentors or people you listen to. Or, for example, for me, Deepak Chopra is my best friend. He doesn't know it, but I have a relationship with him. Right. Do you have any mentors like that have changed your life that you can share with us?
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, so many. I have a ton of mentors that don't know that they are my mentor. Yeah, wow. Where do I even start? Tony Robbins is a big one for me. I'm inspired not just by his motivation, but by his business acumen. Let's see. Gary Vaynerchuk, Seth Godin. I mean, I could just go on and on and on. One of my mentors who I briefly mentioned earlier, Tyler Perry. Now, I actually do know him from a client relationship, but I don't know if he knows how much his business journey has inspired me, because he's an artist, and while his art is very different from mine, I'm not going to get up on a stage. He started out on stage dressed up as an old lady. That's not my thing, but that's his thing that he chose to do. And he's been extremely successful at it. He didn't let anyone deter him from fulfilling his dream. And he has extreme business acumen, to have the largest African-American owned movie studio in the country. So he's another mentor of mine that he may not quite know that he's my mentor.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, very good. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Andrea, for your question. We're going to go with our last question, Lori K, and then Saurel, you finish us off and give Ethan his last word. Go ahead, Lori K.
First of all, I really resonated with so much of what you had to say. The quantum physics, that we are in multiple planes. When I was young, I read Jonathan Livingston Seagull, or his book One. I'm blanking on the author's name now, but he's the same guy who wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and he wrote this book called One, which was that we're all the same person. We've just made different decisions, all in different places, and so that we treat each other as we are all one of the same thing. And that really resonates to me with the purpose of what Einstein and what you were talking about, of the multiple levels of who we are, and seeing each other and seeing ourselves in each other and on our journey. I just love that you brought that up. But one of the questions I wanted to ask you was along with what Andrea said. I'd like to know what books you listen to on Audible. I'm a huge Audible and podcast junkie. I would love to know maybe your top couple podcasts that you listen to, and some books that you would recommend for somebody. I've been in business for a long time, and I do my gratitude journal. I also do TM. I feel like a lot of what you said I'm on, but I love to take it and remind myself, it's of the journey and what I need to continue to do. So what would be some things you would recommend?
Okay. So, man, as far as books, man, I read so much that when people ask me for recommendations, I kind of get overwhelmed. So I'd like to change your question a little bit to the top books that I've either reread, so more than once, or that I've recommended or given away to other people. And if you go on my blog, ethanking.com, I actually wrote an article about this. I have 8 books there. So some of these will be a bit more timeless, but classics or reference books, as I refer to them. But the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene is a big one for me. The 4-Hour Work Week actually inspired me on my business journey. And I know it gets a lot of criticism, but it teaches you to think more efficiently and how to outsource and get more done. Let's see, I'll try to think of something more recently. I'm currently reading Joe Dispenza's book. If you look him up on Audible, there's actually a 3-in-1 package where you get 3 of Joe Dispenza's books. So this is about 25 hours worth of audio, but he talks a lot about the stuff, the law of attraction type stuff that I mentioned, and tapping into the other dimensions and tapping into other frequencies, and just reshaping your brain to become the better version of yourself. So it's very long. I've been listening to that for like the past few weeks. As far as podcasts, so I love Marketing School by Eric Liu. I got to say, one of my new favorite podcasts, and I'm going to give her a plug, full disclosure, my wife just started podcasting, but her podcast is phenomenal. It's called Stitched for Success, and she interviews a lot of business owners and tells their story, stitched as in the wounds they've been through, and they've been stitched up and grown from that. And a lot of them are also clients, so it's kind of a double entendre because we've stitched stuff for them. But yeah, those are a few, but I have a long list. If you want to connect with me offline, I'd be happy to share that with you. I'll probably even do like a blog post or a video about some of my top podcasts.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciated everything you had to say. It was good reminders.
Thank you so much.
Ethan, you did it. In 12 minutes, you've actually taken a whole world and presented it to us and the listeners of the Daily Huddle, as well as the listeners of the Daily Huddle from far-reaching places like Lesotho. There's someone on Facebook listening from Lesotho. So the difference you're making with your speaking is very far-reaching. And myself, the people on the Daily Huddle and the studio audience, Giovanni, we are so grateful for your partnership and your generosity. You're touching people in a way that's unimaginable, and I am grateful for that. Thank you for being here. Your last words, my friend.
Well, Saurel, thank you. Thank you for this platform. Thank you for giving me and others the voice to help people across the world. Wow, that's what this is all about. And I guess I want to leave people with this final thought. It's one of my favorite quotes, and it's from the ancient philosopher Lao Tzu. And he says, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." And that's it. We'll leave you with that.
Yeah. Well, we'll take that as a practice today. Ethan, welcome to the Daily Huddle. This is your place. You're welcome to be back anytime.
Thank you
just
so much.
say the word. And to your business partner and and I won't say partner in crime, I'll say partner in transformation. Monica, thank you for being here. Jodine Dorsey, thank you for being here. Lorna, Sheila, I could name your name 16 times and say thank you a million times. It wouldn't be enough. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. Have an awesome day.
Thanks. You too, guys.
See you tomorrow.
Thank
All right.
you.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks.